What's happening?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's great catching up with you. It was funny. We were before we hit live here. We were talking about your hometown, which I got to experience the last 2 summers, which is pretty freaking cool. The last year was really cool. Just kind of in that summer, obviously what was going on leading up to election year. So you had a little bit of American pride being around the 4th of July. It was really awesome. But being able to go back there again this year, but kind of have my bearings now, knowing where everything's at, and being able to be a little more comfortable. It's really cool. I will say that Wildwood is pretty cool.
It is. It's fun. It's a fun town, especially this time of year. So
yeah, for sure. So a lot has changed since we talked last. So yeah, fill me in, man. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, so a lot has changed. So where do I even start?
Well, you live in Arizona, but you run your business in Jersey still. So, let's talk about that.
Okay, so I do live in Arizona now. I'm from New Jersey, which we were just talking about Wildwood, New Jersey. I grew up at the Jersey Shore, second home market. Couldn't wait to get out of there when I finished high school, because although it's really fun in the summer, in the winter, there's just nothing. Everybody leaves. Most neighbors are gone. They're a resort town. And if you're listening to this and you know me at all, like, slow pace does not work.
Doesn't work for you.
It doesn't work for me at all. So I just really hated it always growing up. And so, and funny, I always say we got a little seasonal depression too, because I love sun. I want to be outdoors. So that brings me to where I live in the sunniest, warmest
So
place.
when you moved out of Wildwood, so before you moved to Arizona, so where were you at? Where was the primary market?
So my primary market was actually like Camden and Burlington counties. So when I left, I graduated high school in 2001, aging myself, right? So when I left there, then I went and moved up in Philadelphia. Okay. I went to college at Widener. I lived with my aunt, and I met my husband there, Brian. So Brian is from Washington Township, which is Gloucester County, which is about an hour and a half from the shore. That's the primary.
That's where you were. So
primary home market, right?
So
I was about an hour and a half.
Come out of Philly, cross the bridge. Now you're in Jersey. So that's right in there. Okay.
Yeah. So my primary real estate market was in like Camden, Burlington County, New Jersey, and so we lived in Marlton, and so I didn't really have roots there either, right? So my roots, I mean, I'm from Pennsylvania. My parents moved down to the shore. Like, I really didn't have anywhere where it's not like, there's nowhere where I was going to have coffee with my family every day. Well, I guess if I went back to Wildwood, I would. But our primary market was Marlton. We built that for 9 years in 3 counties. So Gloucester, Camden, and Burlington County. I grew all 3 of those counties because I built my business through prospecting. Yeah. So it was FSBOs and expired. So when you're FSBO and expired, you kind of go where the business is. So it was about an hour radius that I worked. And we built our team there, and we're really systematized, which, we coached together for a long time. Like, we're very high on systems, accountability, on processes. So, a lot happened. I don't even kind of know where to start, but how we ended up in Arizona was our team was doing well, but we were kind of at a crossroads. We were making some changes, and Brian, who is my husband, my director of ops, he has his master's in accounting and finance. He was in the corporate world, but I was selling 75 houses a year, and everything was always on fire. So he pretty much came over to fix it. And I tell that story a lot, where it was like, in our life, babe, like, how you just, I have an idea and then I don't even know how it happens, and then it just happens. Yeah. Like, can you come do that in my business? And that's what he does. So he pretty much is the integrator. He knows what you are.
He's the piece. And we talked about it, and we tried to figure it and stitch it together. What we have, we need to go find. And it's wild in seeing in a lot of husband, wife, significant other type situations, and just looking at being able to bring that component in, right? Like, I have a team we're working out of Johnson City, and he was head of company, head of sales, driving everything, the face, it's still the name of the company. But we were like, just because you're head of company doesn't mean you should be head of company. And taking into consideration, what is the dang goal, right? What are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish? And what we found is that his fiance had been with him and been in the business for 8 years. We're like, she's built to run this company and allow you to just focus on stacking cash and finding investment opportunities. And it was just like, it's right underneath it. What's the, Coach Bird always says, right? You can't see the picture inside of the frame. So being able to, step out of that and having that perspective.
And that didn't happen overnight, right? That was like me going through 4 assistants in 1 year and like trying to be the integrator that I wasn't.
Right. And you had them right there. And so it's like, how do we create the situation to where it makes sense to make that move?
Yeah. And so he's so process oriented and he understands that so well. And so he kind of came in and put a process around it. We were able to build, and I could just do what I do, which is sell and inspire and speak and recruit and all of that. And that's what I should do. So the market changed. We were growing really fast. We grew everything really fast because that's my personality. Together, we're growing it. We're building the team. We're growing our systems really fast. We grew our expenses really fast. Everything's kind of just moving faster than it should have, and the market changed. And so the market changed, and we're like, we got to figure this out. Like, what makes sense? We have to pivot a little bit because we all have to do that when there's changes in the market. And I think we would all love to work a 2021 market forever.
Sure. It was easy.
Right. That was a really fun market.
It was blowing and going as fast. It was your speed. It was moving fast.
It's my speed. Like, yeah, you didn't even have time to like get to know your clients before you sold their house and they were on their way. Like it was just so fast. It was so fun. So we're pivoting. We're still hiring agents, and agents aren't feeling as excited anymore either. Because back then, I mean, you could be a part-time agent. I had a part-time agent selling 12 houses a year because we knew how to feed the beast and bring the leads in, and they were just falling out of the sky, right? So anyway, Brian and I were pivoting. We were looking at our business. We do this weekly, where we have weekly just operator. We have our level 10 meeting, and that's what we were doing, right? EOS model. We still do that, and I just asked a question, and it was really random. And it was, if we could do this, if we were going to do this all over, if we burned it all down to the ground and we were going to build it over, I built it through prospecting, would we do it here? And he was like, F no, why would we do it here? It was like the 100th day of rain in a row.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, let's not. Like, do we have to? Let's go somewhere else. Let's just do it. Let's just go. And it was just such the right timing. And that was one conversation. And there's a couple times in my life where I can say, one conversation a lot of times between Brian and I. The first one in Jamaica, when I was like, hey, how I said, let's go to Jamaica, and then you figured it all out, and I didn't even know what airline we were flying. Can you come do that in our business? That was like, we were in Jamaica, laying on the beach one day, and Monday of the next week, Brian put his note.
So let me ask you about that, because I love understanding, how people go about making decisions, right? So what was the process to make the decision, but also, you and I are a lot alike when it comes to control, right? Like, I've had to learn throughout the years to start to let go what matters, what can you hang on to, what can't you hang on to from a control aspect. So for you, really at that point, maybe you found a place, finally you just surrendered, but trying to control so much and then making that decision. Have you reflected, have you thought about kind of that process for you at that time?
So the thought process of making the decision, I think that I was in a spot where I wasn't feeling like myself. Like, I was feeling like a little burned out. And in some ways I was even like, is this what I'm meant to be doing? Right. Like, even pray on it. Like, is this what I'm meant? This doesn't feel like I'm meant to be. This just doesn't feel right. I didn't know what it was. Did you ever have that feeling, like, just in your stomach, where you're like, something is off and it's up to me to change it? And I didn't know exactly what it was. And is it location? I don't know if it was 100% just location, but I think I was making some big changes over those couple of years, right? Like, I moved brokerages. I did a partnership. Like, I was trying to find alignment and the right place, right? So I think when I make a decision, a lot of it, I am a gut thinker. Like, I'm really feeling basic. I could feel that it was off, and I could feel that I wasn't myself.
Right.
Like, I'm not my hungry, go after itself. Like, I'm like living under this pressure. It just didn't feel like me. So I think that's where it was. And then it was like, well, what if we could just do something else somewhere else? Like, we're not stuck here. We don't have to be here. There's nothing holding us here. And that's kind of what it was. And then Brian, the amazing thing about Brian is, one, he's my absolute biggest supporter and cheerleader. And he also feels when I'm off, whereas Brian's more of a stable guy. Like, he's always kind of fine and good. He's amazing. He's my favorite person. But like, he can feel when I'm off too. And also, he's never like against my crazy ideas. There's never something that I say where he's like, you're just, I mean, he does say that sometimes, but usually he's not like, you're an absolute like maniac. No, we're not doing that. He was like, what would that look like?
It's good questions.
What would that look like? So I think that's what we started to think about. Well, where would we go? Like, we didn't have a decision on where we were going. I'm like, this sucks. Like, why is it still raining? I'm cold. I hate being cold. Why do we have to wait till we're retired to not be cold?
Yeah.
Like, so we just started talking about where, and we came across Arizona because it's sunny 300 days a year. I know a lot of people here. I'm a partner with Place. There's a lot of Place people here. I also, one interesting thing about why here made sense was the time zone. So like, I can work East Coast. I'm an early bird. So is he. Like, we're up. Like, I don't care if I'm on the phone at 5 a.m. So we can actually work those early mornings. And then if we want to build it in Arizona, we still have, I mean, by 9 a.m., I could have already gotten 3-4 hours of work in.
Wow.
You know, by noon, I could be done with Jersey. So that was another decision factor where Florida wouldn't work because we'd still be on East Coast.
Time zone. What is, so yeah, it's, you know, Kevin has obviously, you know, his market's been, you know, Northern Colorado, you know, for years. And then they just obviously become an empty nester. So they bought, you know, had a new place built in Sarasota. And that was the original thought process, right? Like, you know, he's be in Sarasota, but once he got there, he's like, I just want to build Colorado and then enjoy my peace here. And I'm like, that's an aha, right? It's like one of those things, you think what you want it to be until you actually get into it. And so, you know, you never know until you try.
So exact same thought process. So coming here, I'm like, can we keep Jersey going? Do I have to find a leader in Jersey, right? I'm not gonna be able to run this myself remotely. That was myth number one, because I can. But initially I was like, I'm not gonna be able to recruit. How am I going to recruit remotely? How am I going to lead my team remotely? I'm not going to be able to do that. That was myth number one, which I'm already busting that. Not that I won't need leaders eventually, but I also thought my physical presence was more important than it actually is.
So unpack that a little bit. So, you know, call the myth, you can't do that. What have you found?
I found that my physical presence isn't necessary. Just like you and I aren't physically present with each other right now. I mean, I've been with cloud-based brokerages for over 5 years. I'm with a cloud-based partnership within Place. Like, I don't think the physical presence matters. And in fact, the systems and the leadership and the marketing, all of that matters. And agents don't want to come to the office anymore. Like, a lot of people are going to argue with me about that. And there are still old school people that are like, proximity in person matters. You know what? It doesn't make sense for some of the agents on my team. I told you I built it across 3 counties for them to drive 40 minutes to be in the office when they can do that from their home office or a Starbucks, and then they can go on an appointment. It doesn't make sense. So it was actually, having the office was limiting sometimes because it was annoying for agents to have to come in. And then I was annoyed they weren't coming in. Now I'm spending $6,000 on office rent for this beautiful office that I have staged beautifully and it's amazing and nobody wants to come. And I'm like, wait a minute. But they're selling. Like, why do I have to force them to come? Like, she's crushing it. Why am I like fighting with her to drive 40 minutes to like do this here? So that was one thing that I thought I needed, was the physical presence. And I just need to be present.
What is that what they want? They just want they want you to be present. You know, the biggest thing that I saw, and I think it might be the same thing. If they knew you were always in the office, they knew they could get presence and time with you by coming into the office. But if you're not there and you can give them more focused attention this way than you can by being in the office. Because I remember like my days in the office, especially when I started coaching and like had to shut the door. Like when they would come in, I couldn't look at them. I had to, you know, try to stay engaged. And I think you're 100% spot on. They just, I know what they want. They want your time and attention. And if you could give it to them virtually, be more present virtually than you can actually in person, that's a win.
It's more purposeful. It's less gotta minutes. It's less BS. Like and which is good for me anyway, because I'm honestly, I don't show up well if you interrupt me. I don't like to be interrupted. Like I can't think. Like, I'm not even going to give you good advice when you try and get me when I'm not present and I'm focused on something else. So it's actually really helped my mindset. And I think it's made me a better leader because now I know that when I'm talking to someone on my team, if Mandy needs me, she's got me and I'm present and it's purposeful. And I can tell her like, hey, I have 10 minutes. Is this longer than a 10-minute conversation? Right. And if not, then great, let's just tackle it.
Yeah.
And if it is, great, I'm going to give you a call when I'm driving and then you can have me and I'm free and we can chit chat a little bit. And so it's made it a lot more purposeful and a lot more present. And I think it's better. So I don't need to physically be there. And I still have really great relationships with my agents. So that was definitely a big aha, I would say, for me. That, and I'm building it. I've grown. I mean, I hired 9 agents to my team in Q2.
Giddy up.
And they don't all make it. That doesn't change. It doesn't change if I'm physically there, and it doesn't change if I'm not there physically, right? Like you can't. Not everyone's going to want to do the work, and that doesn't change there. But my standards are actually more clear. Everything's more organized.
Yeah. Is that being in that virtual environment kind of forced you to get clear on the do's and don'ts and the standards, what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you allow, people to do, and the boundaries and the way they get to treat you?
I think that when you're virtual, you are forced to be more organized, which is what we are and what we want anyway. So like in a virtual world, like with us in EXP, like everything, I can't just walk into the accounting office and hand a check in, right? Like you can't do that like you could do at a small mom and pop. Here, because we're big and we're virtual, it has to be really systematized and organized. So I think, yes, it does. It does, even though we were that way, our standards are set easier too, because they can't just walk into my office or walk into Brian's office and
interrupt you. They got a minute. But also, I think for me, it also helps create a culture of resourcefulness. And that's really what we want from our people, is we want them to be resourceful. And, one of the things that I've, pushed everybody through KT, this was homework day one they had to do, but this is what I make my team do on a pretty much regular basis is the 1-3-1, right? What is our big one challenge, one big constraint? What are 3 possible solutions? What's the one that gives us the highest probability of accomplishing removing the one thing, the one obstacle? And when their resourcefulness, AI that, like, it's not even Google that anymore. It's like, I don't know, AI it. And
I know. I say, that's why that's ChatGPT. Like, just get on there. I don't know. Go out. If I have to, so I used to always say, but you're right, now we can say AI. I used to say, if I have to Google it, you can Google it. So a lot of times agents will ask me questions and I would just send them the search bar, right? Like, here's the search bar. You go do that. That's what I would do in this instance. Or if we have it on video already.
Yeah.
Or if I told you already, or if it's in your onboarding checklist, like, we do really want them to be resourceful, because I'm not looking for people who are dependent, for people who can't do it on their own.
Right.
I want people who can do it on their own.
They just need direction.
That I can enhance them and I can help them do it better, bigger, faster together. Not who is just like, we don't want victim people who can't do it, who can't handle it. I want great people. So, and that's what I attract. And the ones that aren't resourceful most likely aren't really going to make it with me. And that's okay too. Like, we all have to find our people. So that's kind of.
I love that. When you guys finally made the move, and was it just, we cut ties, we sold the house, we moved, or was it still like hanging on to the Jersey Monkey Bar while we grabbed the Arizona bar, or did we just both hands go into Arizona?
So that's not the way I do anything, right? With like, when I left teaching, right? I quit teaching. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to try real estate in the summer. It's like, I'm going to go all in. And after a year, if I can't figure this out, I'm going to have to go back into the classroom, which I knew I was never doing again. When Brian decided to leave his corporate position and be our COO, like, he
burned the boats.
Good job. Listen, we know that at any time we control our own destiny. I can go get another job. He can go get another. If that was it, we could go back to New Jersey. New Jersey's not going anywhere. There's always going to be a house. So we burned the boats. We're like, no, we're leaving. And what we had decided, though, John, when we left, was we weren't going back to New Jersey. If we hated Arizona, which I didn't think we would after our research and all the thought process we had and where we wanted to be, we knew that we would go somewhere else, but we had just made the decision that we weren't going to go to New Jersey. I don't want my kids. And for all of you people that know me and love me and your Jersey people, I love New Jersey, but it wasn't in alignment with what I want for my life. I want warmth, and I don't really want to pay those taxes either. Right. So we had made the decision that we were leaving Jersey. So we burned it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we go, no looking back, only plan A, no plan B. And, I mean, that takes that's commitment, right? That's a level of commitment. That's not interested. No, hey, we're not interested. We're committed. We're moving. We're all in. We're moving to Arizona. We're going to make this work. When you guys got there, when did it click? You're like, man, this is it. This is going to work.
So when did it? Well, okay.
So we're in Arizona. We're still operating. In two different two time zones over in a Jersey market. We're living in Arizona. Was there a moment where you and Brian looked at each other and goes, this is going to work?
I think now we really know that, but I think there was a lot of changes we had to make. So, you know what? You want to see the holes in your business? Move 2,500 miles away.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we did. We're like, oh my goodness, like this doesn't work, or this person in this seat, this isn't working. And it was working when I was next to them, but it's not working now and I can't fix it. Like I can't. Yeah. So there was all these holes that we kind of had to patch and fix and continue burning down. So
yeah,
that was, it took a couple months. So we moved here in July of last year. By fall, we were like, all right, like things are going to have to change. And when I came here, I didn't know what it was going to be like. I knew that whatever Brian and I can do whatever we want. I believe that like in my heart, like him and I can do whatever we want. If we decided to stop selling real estate and sell solar tomorrow, we make it successful. We're not going to do that.
Yeah. You're hardwired because you look how you got into the business, right? I always go, there's certain skill sets and certain capabilities that will travel, right? Like you look at Tina and Kevin's story, right? Where they moved out of Michigan into the Carolinas. They had the skill set of what you had, which was reaching out to cold people and having a conversation, right? Not afraid to get on the phones. You know what to say. You're relentless. They're not going, people are telling you to F off. It's not going to upset your day. Like you have that skill set. That skill set will travel. And so, for you guys being able to have that was, to me, that was a capability that you could always fall back on no matter what it is we're doing. We have a particular skill set that will travel.
I can always personally sell. It doesn't matter what market you put me in, right? Because that skill set does transfer. And really what that skill set is I'm a great listener and people will tell me their problems and then I can help with solutions. And if that solution means selling their house, buying a house, or whatever it is that I'm trying to help them solve, I'm going to be able to get to the heart of that and figure it out. And they'll trust me. Why? Because I want to help them truly. Like I truly do. So usually they don't tell me to F off.
Right.
They usually don't. They may be in the beginning, but now it's rare. Even a FSBO won't say that to me because of my approach. But my approach is really a collaborative and helpful approach. So I knew that we could move here and we could make it work. What I was surprised about, which is kind of what you mentioned with Kevin, right? So is it Kevin, right?
Yeah. Shoemaker. Yeah.
Shoemaker. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I thought that I was going to have Jersey sustain. I'm like, there's too strong of a database. I built too strong of a business there. My reputation, my mark, my brand, all of that. I'm not going to burn that down. That doesn't make any sense for me to do that. I'll be able to keep that. I'll find somebody who wants to take it and then I'll build it in Arizona and Arizona will become my primary market. That was original thought. So I came to Arizona. I got my broker's license. I hired a couple agents to my team. We went and got a small office. I took a few FSBOs, expired listings. And then I realized something similar to Kevin. I love running it remote. Like it's so fun. And Jersey is crushing. So like that was the second myth that I'm like, I've got to build it where I am.
Yeah.
And
Kevin realized that too. It's funny. I've got you would love her. Stacy she's in Columbus and so they spend several months of every year in the Caribbean. They have their little go-to spot. They have their little getaway. And most of the time they'll just disappear and nobody will know, right? They don't want clients to know. They don't want to see that they're traveling and everything. And so the question that we always go through is, what can't I do from here? Right? Like it's not all the things that we got to do all this. We got to have, it's just like, no, really, what can I not do? Okay, well, we can't do that. Okay, we got to have some help here. We can't do that. We got to have some help here. So like for you virtually running, from afar, what have you learned? Like you have to have this, and this place. These, like, what are the top 3 things that you have to have in place to be able to continue to run and grow your business remotely?
I have to have great people that are hungry and want listings and trust me in my brand, because I although I'll still sell a little bit in New Jersey when it's convenient, and every time I go there, I take a listing because I want to pay for my whole trip. But like, I need people who are willing to, that want to work, that want to sell, that will follow the process and trust me. And I'm lucky to have those people, and I can continue to find those people. So that's important. Couple little really annoying things I've had to figure out are like signs. Oh my God. Actually, the biggest nightmare of my life and Brian's life is like figuring out signs and lock boxes. Where are they? Who has them? Do we have enough? We need more. Who has what in their garage? Like, that's probably the biggest process that's annoying, and it's such a stupid one, but it is. It's like, who's picking that sign up if I take a listing?
Yeah.
That's probably something like, again, I can't physically be there.
Little things that you don't think about until you're like, oh shit, we can't go run and get that. Who can go get that
like,
for
who's
us?
our runner now? Like, I don't even know. So like, that has been like, but we had to get a process around that. You have to have a process around every single thing, because when you don't have an office anymore, like we used to have an office, we had a big closet full of signs, full of lock boxes, full of riders. When that was low, we ordered more. Now you have to figure that out, like presentations, getting all those things done. So when you don't have an office and you're not physically there, it's figuring those processes out, which we have now pretty much figured out, but that was the biggest nightmare.
Yeah,
I would say. And then I can't physically be there to sell, which I tell my agents is such a value to them. And if you show, and so I'm really honest, like there's no participation trophies on our team. Like, it's the ones that do the work, show up consistently. Like, just because you're on the team doesn't mean you get, it's not equal, right? Those who show up and do the work and follow
well, it's
the process.
fair. It's fair. And I think we have to remember, fair is not equal.
It's
fair,
earned.
Exactly. Right. A fair compensation for what you do. And how you earn it. Yeah, I love that.
And so there's a lot more to earn now too, because a listing that I would have taken is now not mine to take. I won't take it now. Now you take it. Now you have opportunities that I personally would have done before. And I was doing that before as well when I was physically there, but now it's way more. So it's really an opportunity for my agents to grow. I've also created a little mentorship like process where my top agents, if I bring a new agent on, they name them as sponsor with EXP, and with Place, there's a sponsorship thing as well. So it's a way to, it's like a buddy system, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Mary and Mandy are my two top agents. Guys, I'm going to bring this new agent. I'm going to have them name you. Your only job is be their friend. Make sure they come on our calls. If you guys are going to the mortgage company to do some video content, like invite them along with you, check in, let them shadow you. All I really want them to do is, they're busy agents. Let them shadow you. You're putting an offer in, blind copy them. Let them see how you do it. You're doing an open house, ask them to come. So that's kind of really where, that's another thing we had to figure out, because I thought I needed a director of sales, and I tried that. But the problem is it's really hard to move and then put someone else in charge in place of you. It just didn't, it wasn't the right timing, and that didn't work. So that buddy system is working.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and it's, you know.
What is the biggest threat from being virtual? Is it the people?
Well, you know what? They're always gonna, I mean, I don't know what the biggest threat is. I don't know that the threats really change, because your people can always leave you. You always have to be increasing your value, and you always have to be putting them first. You're always going to have turnover. So the biggest threat, I don't know. You know, I don't even know if I can answer that.
Yeah.
I can't personally pick it up. I can't personally, if we're having a bad month, go take 5 listings like I could then. I could do it here, but I don't want to.
Right.
So I guess that's partly a threat.
Is it, how important, you know, looking at, I think the models are a little bit different, right? So it just really kind of depend on what the model is. I mean, you know, thinking about like Stacy and Pam and the other agents that have successfully exited their market and building an incredible market, you know, lifestyle from afar. You know, they have really good boots on ground type people for them that are more of a hourly kind of wage earner instead of upside potential. Is it key to have a couple go-to that are kind of on the payroll, as you would say, to be able to be a good resource there?
All VA, all virtual assistant. So I don't have anybody boots on the ground. And I think that's our superpower too, because everything is processed and systematized. And so if I can tell you the truth about like our transaction coordination process now has never been better. because it's virtual assistant and they're so process oriented that they hold the agents accountable to the process. And if the process isn't followed, there's no, hey, can you just do this for me real quick? I'm running late to a showing. It's not how it works. You will follow the process. And so, I mean, I know that most of the largest teams have directors of sales, but I think I'm almost kind of bucking that system. Like, I don't think we need it. I think eventually I'm going to need to step out of it a little bit more. I am really involved. I don't know that person needs to be physical. Yeah. That person might need to just be virtual as well. I kind of like it that way. And it empowers the agents to be more self-sufficient. But at the same time, listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. We offer a ton of leads and a ton of opportunities and a large database and great marketing and every system you could ever imagine that you couldn't do on your own.
I was about to say, what's the value proposition that, to keep an agent plugged in and engaged?
I think it's really always like leadership, leads, and learning, right? So like I kind of look at it that way. So it's like the leadership there. I'm going to lead you. I'll show you how to do it. It's how I did it. Like,
how hard would it be? How hard would it be if you didn't have the leads, right? Because I see so many agents that say they want to, build a team, build something. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the value proposition? Well, it's the coaching and the support, it's the training. And it's like, okay, well, I can give them some leadership and some guidance. Okay, but so what does the split structure have to look like? What are they willing to pay for that? And it's hard, right? It's real hard. I mean, we learned that lesson with our very dear friend, Gene. And Gene was on that model, no leads. And when the market shifted and market got real hard, those people they kind of dry up. So, I mean, how critical is it if you are trying to build some type of team structure organization, is it to provide opportunities?
I think, listen, we can say all we want. People join you, they join your value, your coaching. At the end of the day, we're all looking for leverage, and leads are leverage, right? They're leverage for agents, right? You still have to lead generate. You're still going to do the open houses. And if you can we actually have a lead gen wheel that we show that it's like, if you can do open houses, you can reach out to your sphere and you can prospect. We're going to give you, if you can get half of the business on this side of the sphere, and we can give you the other half. Now, what I found is we're really giving them 75% from our team generated, but they're leverage for me. So we can sit here all day and say they join my coaching. And if your value proposition as a leader is big enough that people will join you for that, they're going to pay you what that's worth.
Right.
And so my agents make a little more when they bring the lead in on their own than they do if I give it to them directly. They need leads, they need opportunities. And I don't think we can pretend that that's not the truth. And I think
I would agree. I mean, you know me, man. I defaulted into this industry, right? Taking a position as before it was an integrator. I mean, that's the position I took because I already walked into a successful organization by standards in 2004. It was one of the top organizations on the planet. And, just the amount of market share that we were able to obtain in transaction count, but it was a shit show. Right. And being able to, put the train on the tracks and keep the guardrails up. I was like, I'm able to put the bumpers up. I mean, that's the best way to describe what the Kinder organization was before me. It was like, a 5-year-old bowling without the bumpers. And so being able to put the bumper rails up, but we had leads, like we dominated with leads, like nobody generated more leads than we did. So like day one, I understood the importance of leads and what agents value. And, I hear, hey, they value support, they value training, they value leadership. I think they value opportunity more than anything.
I think it's the whole package, right? At the end of the day, it's the whole package. So there has to be, I don't think if your value proposition is only leads, if your value proposition is only leads, and there are teams that way, you're going to see a lot of turnover. Right? Turnover because they're not with you for you. They're with you for leads. And when they can figure out how to generate their own leads or they find another opportunity, they have no loyalty. They're just going to move somewhere else because if they join you for leads, they'll leave you for more leads or more money.
There has to be more. I love your three-pronged approach, right? It's about what'd you say? Leadership, listings,
learning, right? You got to teach them. You got to lead them, you got to teach them, and you got to give them opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think that if you do that, and then there has to be a growth. So that's where the opportunities come in. It's not just leads. It's how can you become a mentor? How can I show you how to?
That's opportunity, right? It's opportunity to grow. It's opportunity to give back. I love that, right? You know, the best that I've seen create a culture of leadership and winning and accountability is Sloan, right? And I've told you this, like, I mean, I shared it with you. We were working together. I remember to this day, and him and I talk about it all the time. You know, you have those moments to where it's like, wow, right? And I got to see it play out into where his organization is today compared at that time at the end of 20, when he said, you know, the daily wins. And I'm like, dude, the ripple effect of that decision, because it forces you to, you know, get focused and commit and then be accountable and win, and cultivates leadership, cultivates accountability, right? I think is also the big component there. But that's like, you have a standard. I have to hold you accountable. If you want these leads and these opportunities, you got to perform.
Right. You have to, and you have to follow the process. And the thing is that I don't have like, you have to sell 2 houses a month on my team, or you've got to prospect from 9 to 11. I've tried all the models, by the way. And you've got to find the one that feels good for you. Because I remember in the beginning of my career, it was, you don't get to be creative. This is the model, follow it. And so I'm like, okay, that's what I have to do. And so I tried and tried and tried, and it didn't feel right to me. So now I'm like, who the hell created the model, and why do they get to tell me what to do? Like, right? Like, I don't know why I was so gullible. I felt like I had to do it that way. So now it's like, listen, you pick if you want to sell, as long as you're good for my culture, if you want to sell 10 houses this year, let's get a plan around that. Right. Yeah. And you can do that. If you want to sell 40, you absolutely can. Let's get a plan around that. Your plans are going to look very different. But when you're not showing up, either one of you, like, expect me to reach out and be like, hey, I thought the goal was, you know, I wanted to get out
40.
I wanted to buy the house. And these were what the things you told me to do. Mm-hmm. Did that change?
I love that you said that, because when somebody says that they want to sell X number of houses, I'm like, how come? Like, why? What is this for, right? This is only a vehicle to achieve bigger goals and freedom. How come? Like, and so
what will that do for your life?
Good. Yeah.
Like, what's that going to do for your life? And if you don't do that, what's your life going to look like? And we see the same thing with sellers, the same thing with buyers. It's what's the motivation and what's the plan B, right? So if I know those two things, if I know you're motivated to sell your house because you want to transfer to Florida because you want to be in the warm weather. Well, if I know that that's the importance and you want to do it by September, well, what's the plan? If we're listed at 600,000 and we're not selling, what's your plan B? Are you going to stay there?
Right.
Are you going to rent it out?
Mm-hmm.
What's your plan B? Okay, the plan is still go to Florida. All right, well, this isn't working. So we got to figure out a new process. And it's the same thing with the agents. So what is the goal? And if we don't hit it that way, what's our life look like?
Yeah.
What does that look like? So you just have to do it with your eyes open. You decide not to show up. You decide not to follow the process. Well, you're probably going to go back to working at Target if that's where you were before.
Right. And it's all about, right. So I love connecting the dots with, you know, I introduced you to the 4 C's, right? It's commitment, you know, courage, capabilities, you know, confidence, the 4 C's to confidence. And when I hear you talking about that, right, it's like, you know, it's like we always say, like, who do you have to become in order to achieve the goals that you want to achieve? And you have to remember your goals are also in alignment to your capabilities. So if you're not resourceful enough, or you're not enough skilled in a certain aspect of the key skills that we all must possess to achieve certain outcomes, then it's never going to happen, right? So you got to make sure that your goals and your capabilities are in alignment, or you're continuing to grow the capabilities to achieve your goals. It's really fascinating.
And I think the capabilities part is really important. I think we forget about that too, is that not everybody's made to do this.
Correct.
And that's okay. Like, I have that conversation with people, like some people, like, figure out, like, I'm a big personality profile person. Like, I know all of my profiles, they're all in ChatGPT. I don't know if you put them in there yet, but like ChatGPT knows me better than my husband. But like, know what your strengths are and what you should be doing. I know that I should not be like managing the CRM in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
In fact, if you go in and ask ChatGPT, I did it once. I'm like, should I be an accountant? It's like, absolutely. You should be because ChatGPT is still very positive. You should be an accountant.
Yeah, it's confirmation bias. Well, that's the greatest idea.
People who are accountants, then you should be an accountant, but you really shouldn't do anything with numbers. I'm like, okay, great. So like, you should do what you should do. And so capability is a big part. And you also can't teach somebody like the natural ability to connect and to sell. Now you can get better the more you try, the reps will come in, but you're always going to be outside of your comfort zone. So go find your comfort zone and go excel there. Like be in your what's the word I'm looking for?
Just be in your zone. Be in
your
your lane. Be in your zone.
80% of the time and just figure out what that is. Don't try and be someone you're not.
Right. Yeah.
Like Brian hates selling. He tried it. He did it. That's what a director of ops
Keep him
does.
out of that lane. Yeah,
he
doesn't need to be in there. He doesn't need to be in there. And
Yeah.
it gets back into, what does Martell talk about? It's the productivity quadrant, right? Do what gives you energy that you're the best at to move the business forward. It's going to make you the most amount of money. Do the thing that makes you the most amount of money that gives you energy, not robs you of it. It's super key.
And that's what agents do. So when we take a lot of that off their plate. So if we take off all the back end stuff, I'm like, all I really want you to do is what you should be good at if you want to be an agent, which is find people, connect with them, and service them. And then we're going to take on all that back end stuff, and you're going to love your life, and you're going to live a great life, and you're going to have a high dollar per hour.
No, I love that. And one thing that I'm curious about, because me, I'm a big vision guy, right? Without a vision, the village will perish. You've got to create a massive enough vision that the people want to come and be a part, because they believe they can accomplish their goals and their dreams by being a part of the vision and what you're trying to accomplish. And when you have a vision, then you look for what are all the ways to get there, right? And so, like, even for us, when we were making the move we ended up making the move over to EXP in 2017, but coming out of 2015, going into 2016, we were like, okay, the traditional way, the way that we built Lawton is not the way we can build Texas. So what do people want? What is our value proposition, and how can we get a bigger piece of the pie? And that's where we latched on to partner, and we were partnering with agents in market service areas. Our value promise was 4 new listings per month in your market service area. And then, all the ways, but we had a goal, right? We had a big, hairy, audacious goal. We had a, thing that we're like, damn, okay, well, we can get 22. Let's restructure DFW. Maybe we can get 24. We can get 26 in DFW. Then we're going to have to go into other markets. And our goal was 2,000, right? And when Al, had, the Christmas in July with his top 2 agents leaving him, and 600,000 in GCI going out the door, he had to figure out, what the hell am I going to do? Because he was out of production, right? He had the call center. He was calling for Chep. He was doing, all the stuff with the call center, and he had to go. He was going to have to go back into production to save the Stasic group. And that's when, he was now open, and Cliff got him with, the Partner With Me video. But I remember early on in 2016 seeing the model. And I watched maybe 10 minutes of it, 12 minutes of it, because I was so latched on to what it is that we're doing. But we know better just through all the mental models and the thinking. And it's like, what are all the ways? Is this the best way? The goal is still the goal. Is that the best way to get there? And then that let us go into our ego of prideful of what we were building, an independent model that was partnering with agents. We had just partnered with Tracy and Jason in Atlanta, and like, it was just everything that was going in that, and we just blew it up. Like, we blew it all up because we found a better way to get us to the goal. And so for you, just KW, EXP, Real, back to EXP, partnering with Place, like, for you, what is that filter that you and Brian are running through to make sure that you've got the best support, best platform for you guys to achieve your goals?
It's really hard, because I think you mature a lot along the way, and with each decision, you do what you think is best until you know better, and then you do better, right? It's one of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou. And so I think about that a lot. So when I left KW, I loved KW. I was happy there. I felt like I had hit a ceiling, and I knew that there was more and there was a better way. And it's still a great company, and people are still there now, and that fits for them. But for me, I was like, there's something better, there's something bigger, there's something newer that I should latch onto. And so I did all the research I could do, and I'm like, I think this is it. And at the same time, I didn't totally understand what I was building. I was still heavily in production. I still wanted to build a team. And I can remember talking to Jay early on too, where he was like talking to me about recruiting and building a downline and all of that. I'm like, listen, I just want to sell. Like, just show me how to sell 500 houses a year. And I didn't really understand what I was trying to build. And even still, I think it gets blurry sometimes. But then when things don't feel right, I tend to know that I need to change. So like when I moved then, I thought, okay, that was great until it wasn't anymore. I made a change. That wasn't the right decision. I think that when the market changed, if I'm going to be really vulnerable on this podcast, I will be. The market changed. I had built something really big for the sake of being big because I thought I needed to sell 500 homes a year or whatever it was. There wasn't really a good staple reason around it except for how do I help more people become more visible, speak to more people? Like I knew I wanted to be in my strength zone, but I didn't really have a good reason. And so then when it all changed, I was just kind of like, oh, I did this all wrong. Like burn it. And sometimes I can be like that. I'm like, just burn it down. Like this was wrong. Forget it. Like I don't even need the studs. Burn it all down. We'll start all over. Now I think after doing that, leaving EXP, which I loved EXP, I really did. There were some challenges, and I don't want to talk about brokerages too much, but there were some challenges there that EXP fixed. So I actually am really in alignment with EXP for that reason, because they saw it.
Yeah.
Right? They changed leadership. They changed the structure a little bit because they're like, wait, we built this. It's great. It's big. But now the size that it is, we've got to make changes.
Yep.
And they lost me for a reason that they hadn't fixed yet.
And they fixed it.
And they did. I'm like, now it really is the best.
Yeah.
Right now it really is.
You go back to a couple things there, right? And we talk about vision, and part of that vision is also values, which are standards. And the one that really got me, right, that still has me with EXP is sustainability. And when you make decisions through decision-making filters, which are core values, are decision-making filters, and everything runs through agent first, everything runs through, being agile, but also sustainable. Like we're not making this unless it's sustainable for the long haul. Like, first to market, we created this space. We created, the virtual, place. We dominate it. We do need we do need the LPTs. Because listen, EXP wouldn't have changed if Real didn't come along. Right. EXP wouldn't have changed if LPT didn't come along. Like they wouldn't make the adjustments. You need the competition to make sure that you're still pressure testing and making it the best that it can be. And so for me, it's always about sustainability. Like if you're going to do this for the long haul, unless you're building to sell, which EXP was never designed build to sell. It was designed to build for forever. And you got to have the values in place for that to be true.
And a big part of it is culture. Right. So culture is really super important to me. It's probably one of the most important things to me is culture and alignment and people. And so if that feels off, it would be hard for me to stay anywhere or do anything if I don't fully believe in it with my whole self. Like I have to fully believe in what we're building. Yeah. And so I stopped for a minute. I wasn't really believing in what we were building because it felt very competitive inside. So let's just be real. It felt really competitive inside EXP. I'm like, I feel like it doesn't feel good. This feels gross to me in some ways. And although I loved all you guys, it just didn't feel like what I wanted to build. I wasn't believing in it anymore. And so I went somewhere else that had kind of tried to solve that problem because I wasn't the only one who was feeling that. Except when they tried to solve the problem, they tried to solve it so much that it took all the culture away. Yeah. And then I felt like I didn't really have a lot of culture. And then EXP is like, wait a minute. We did kind of feel like a bunch of different sports teams competing against each other. How do we fix that? Yeah. And so they did. And now it doesn't feel that way anymore. It doesn't. No. It feels like we can all just collaborate. We can all connect with each other. And that was a big part. And seeing that was what's so impressive. From the inside seeing it, right? Being able to be a part of it. Instead of just being like, hey, we're number one, we're the best, and letting the ego continue on that path. They were like, wait a minute. This other company is getting some traction. What are they doing? How are they taking some of our best people? Yeah. And so 100%. EXP saw that and fixed it. And that makes me think this is my home. Like this is where I should be. I was happiest here. And now they've made it better. And I also have the trust that if there's something broken again, they're going to fix it. 100%.
100%. And it's just a matter of time, right? It's just growing pains. There's stuff on the roadmap, and I promise you, if it's an issue you're having, I promise you it's an issue that others are having, and I promise you that it's making noise. And I think this is also important, right? When you understand leadership and leadership's intent, right? It's kind of commander's intent with the military. What's leaders and leadership intent, and understanding a guy like Leo, who is built for, he's a wartime general, right? I'm not saying Glenn's not, but Glenn's more of a peacetime general, and just incredible, right? Really founder, really being able to see around corners, see into the future. But when you bring a guy in like Leo, and you understand Leo hates noise, he will make noise go away. And I promise you, if there's an issue that's causing noise in your life with the situation, I promise you others are having it. And I promise you it's just a period of time before that noise goes away. And that's just good.
I actually talked to Leo prior to our call about something that was a little noisy. So I actually had a little challenge, and like the CEO of our company called me. Yeah. Actually, right now I have Amy Weaver calling me, who is another big, she's calling my phone right now. Like this is the leadership we have. Yeah. Like that's impressive and amazing. And I'm not anybody special. I'm special. We're all special, but I don't mean they would do that for anybody. In the entire company. Anybody who's having an issue, or who has someone they're bringing over, or has something going on, they would do that. And so anybody that speaks volumes, because they care. I think they truly do. Actually, they actually care.
They do care.
Part, and that's something that you have to figure out how to show in a remote way, right? Because we are a cloud-based brokerage. How can we have such strong culture in a cloud-based brokerage? Place is also a cloud-based technology company. Like we have so much culture. We all love each other. Yeah. It's not proximity. You don't have to be physically. That's what I got to learn so much. And if I can give any message, like your physical proximity, like if you have to be there in person, you are a control freak. You don't need to be there in person. Like you just
I love it.
So I'm pretty excited about all of it.
As you should be. Be. So it's cool. I appreciate you. Thank you for carving out the time, jumping in here. It's always great connecting with you, and just excited that you guys are back, and excited that you and Brian are. And what's even cooler is the life that you're able to create and design, for your family, for the kiddos, and the experiences that they're able to have, and it's awesome.
Absolutely. And so the one thing, I'm going to tell you one last thing about Arizona, and I'm going to show you my outside. So I did not want to live in the brown and the dirt. And that's the one thing. I'm like, I don't know that I can go from the garden state to like living in sand and cactuses. Like I just can't die. I still can't say that. But we found a spot in Arizona. Like, look, like I live like that. Can you see that?
Yeah, I love it. I would say, are you in Florida?
I'm like, all right, where is there breathing water? I want the 300 days of sun.
That's what I'd say. Are you in Florida?
I can't look at like a concrete wall. Yeah. So you just design it, right? Like I knew that. I knew that I wouldn't feel happy doing that. I was also afraid of snakes. There's not snakes in the water. So anyway, it's really, really fun. And if this is ever not the right fit, we can change.
Have you gone through the vivid vision exercise yet? So no. It's pretty much like the perfect day scenario, but you do it for your business. And just close your eyes and just vision vividly every detail, right? And you've done a lot of that, right? It's like what you just talked about. Hey, we can live and work from here. Here's hard nose, right? Can't look at concrete. I can't look at dirt. I can't be around snakes. I can't live around the cactus. Like, no, non-negotiable. Vividly, but vividly, what do you see, right? And you probably, a lot of it has come to be just from what you vision. And it's just like the perfect day exercise, but for your business, the vivid vision exercise.
Yeah. Is it like a thing? Like, do I Google it or chat?
You can. There's a book around it that talks about it. It doesn't give you the how-to. It's more of just getting the creative space in every detail that you can think of. Like, what does the team look like? What are they? What is their personality types? Like, how are we working every day? And you're living a lot of it. But zoom out a little bit, right? Like, what does it look like 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? You know, when the kids are grown up and gone, they're gone to college. Maybe, you know, we got grandbabies now. What does that look like? Right. So being able to go out and think about it in that regard, and what does the business have to be? It's totally creative.
Yeah, visualization. I do a lot of, I want to look that one up specifically, but I do a lot of visualization. Like I spend a lot of time in my head. I have to, because I'm moving fast, and I usually do that like super early morning, like 4 a.m. Or like in the shower, like when you can't have your phone, like when there's no distractions. And I think that's a really important part of why I think I can make decisions. And it seems like I make them fast. I don't. I obsess for a long time, and I do a lot of that. And then it's like, decide yes or no, but decide. I can't sit in indecision for long.
Right.
And I think that's part of my superpower, and sometimes part of the reason I might make a bad decision sometimes. And
it's okay. As long as we can live with the downside, we're going to keep making them. That's good.
Right? It's better than not making a decision at all, in my opinion.
Right. 100%.
So awesome, John. It was so fun connecting
awesome.
with you. And we'll connect soon.
Got it. We'll see you guys. Thanks.